Daz reckons Andy's up to no good. I reckon he's probably right. That's Emmerdale at 7. But now we join GMTV and goodbye to Fiona.
Good morning. On the news hour today, near breaking point, hospital A&Es and the ambulance service struggle to cope with the outbreak of winter illnesses.
Crisis in the car industry overnight. America's Chrysler says it will close all of its factories for a month as news emerges of British government bailout for Jaguar Land Rover.
And are they warranted? Shops are told to stop mis-selling extended insurance that people don't need. Those are the headlines you're waking up to. It's Thursday, the 18th of December, 2008.
And a very good morning to you. It is 6 o'clock. This hour, myths. We look at the new report pouring scorn over some common health advice we've been following for years. Apparently eating sugar doesn't make children hyperactive. We think some people may beg to differ on that one.
Yes, do share your thoughts with us on that. GM.TV, and it's the end... Oh, I presume he was just about to say, I always feel really hyperactive when I eat too much sugar, but then, of course, it gives you a lot of energy.
But you were so hyper, you just leapt in there.
I did. I've just had a bit of a sugar rush. It's the end of a television era. The queen of the sofa, Fiona Phillips, is preparing to say goodbye to GMTV after 15 years. We'd love to have your farewell messages this morning, talking about that in 25 minutes.
Sweet. She's going to be melting today, isn't she? She is going to be melting. They're on till 9:25 from 7 o'clock for Fiona. Right, the myth of cold weather at Christmas. Nonsense. Very mild and beautiful yesterday.
Yes, in fact, it's going to be for Christmas Day as well.
Good.
Yes,
Thanks.
no snow.
Yeah, we don't want that, though. We want no snow when we're travelling, snow when we're there, tobogganing, back in front of the fire, no snow again for when we're travelling home.
Well, if you've got a hotline to the Big G, tell him now. Okay. Hello, good morning. Now, we do have a cold front moving its way southwards. When I say cold front, the air behind is much colder, and that means you could see some wintry showers, particularly across the Highlands of Scotland as we head through the afternoon. Clouds spilling ahead of it, and this area of cloud and rain gradually moves its way across to northern counties of England as well as Wales. The sunshine's going to be pretty bright to the north, clear skies there, but rather windy, and that will blow in 1 or 2 showers. We could hang on to some sunshine down towards the southeast. Elsewhere, just generally a lot of cloud, but certainly milder where we see that cloud, and turning colder in the north as that cold air digs in again. I'll give more details about the weather and about our dry Christmas Day in around 25 minutes, Penny.
Yeah, thank you very much. Our top story today. People are being urged not to call 999 unless it is an absolute emergency, because ambulance services and A&E departments are struggling to cope with demand. They've just had their busiest week ever because of the cold snap and a large number of viral infections. Well, Jonathan Swain is at an A&E department. Jonathan.
Good morning to you, Penny. Well, overstretched and struggling to cope. That's how the ambulance service in the UK has been described, and that's been described by somebody who should know, because it's Peter Bradley, the director of UK Ambulance Services. Now, he is urging people only to call 999, as you say, unless it's an absolute emergency, because they've had their busiest 10 days in history. And not only is it putting pressure on ambulance staff, it's also putting huge pressure on hospitals as well. Many accident and emergency departments around the country are full, so it means that ambulances are unable to drop patients off at the A&E department, which means that that vehicle is then remains where it is at the hospital and unable to respond to another emergency. Now, with the party season in full swing, he's warned us that the situation is likely to get much worse, and some ambulance services have actually suspended meal breaks for some staff, and they've offered generous overtime in an effort to try to cope. So what can we do to try and help to ensure that the service is there for those who need it? Well, with flu and norovirus, a sickness and diarrhea bug sweeping the country at the moment, the advice is to stay at home, call your GP or NHS Direct. Do not call 999, Penny, as some people have been doing. Only use that service, as you say, if you genuinely need it.
Jonathan, thank you very much.
6:04 is the time. The rest of the news from Nick this morning.
Thanks, Andrew. Good morning. Retailers are facing their toughest time for 25 years, with a large number expected to go bust in the new year. Latest figures show that high street sales were down again for the first 2 weeks of December. Richard Gaisford is in Kingston upon Thames in Surrey. Richard.
Yes, good morning to you, Dick. Nick, well, if you look behind us here, you can see all of these sales in the window. Even the half-price sales and the heavy discounting that's going on the high street isn't enough to get people spending their money. They've had a very bad 2 weeks, retailers on the high street. That's what the CBI is telling us. They've questioned all of their members, and they say it hasn't been this bad since 1983, when they first started to speak to retailers about what was going on. They say that 70% of shop owners reckon that they've had a very poor start to December, and there's no sign yet of a last-minute rush despite the bargains on offer. And we can see that Woolworths here having its closing down sale. They announced yesterday that the company will close its doors finally by the 5th of January. Nearly 30,000 staff likely to be made unemployed, and they won't be the last. Analysts saying that big name stores around the country on the high street likely to go into administration over the next few weeks because sales haven't what they should be. And it's not just the shops that are suffering. Of course, car manufacturers are finding it very hard to shift stock at the moment, so much so that we hear that Jaguar Land Rover is in trouble at the moment. The company, of course, was bought recently by Tata, the big Indian firm. That now has been in talks with the government. We hear secret discussions with the government about some sort of bailout. 15,000 workers relying on that particular group for their livelihoods. And with that in mind, it's thought that the government may have come up with some sort of financial package to help them out. But of course, that would set something of a precedent. And with stores like Woolies here going bust without any help from the government, you have to wonder, where does it all stop? At what point do the government put their hands up and say, listen, we can't help you anymore?
Richard, thank you. Jailed Liverpool fan Michael Shields could be pardoned by the Justice Secretary Jack Straw after High Court judges ruled there was new evidence. 22-year-old Shields was given 10 years for the attempted murder of a local barman in Bulgaria in 2005. He insisted he was asleep at the time. Another Liverpool fan confessed to the attack but later retracted his statement. Shields' family hope he could be home for Christmas. The government's chief advisor on CJD, the human form of mad cow disease, has warned that a new strain of the illness could be about to hit Britain. Scientists believe it could be more resistant than previous strains and have a longer incubation period. Relatives of those killed by the disease will campaign at Downing Street today for more information to be made available to the public. NHS dental patients are being overcharged by more than £100 million a year, according to new research carried out by the Tory party. It claims patients are being recalled for treatment unnecessarily and being charged twice for appointments spread over several days. The Conservatives say the practice means that many people can't get to see a dentist at all. As a result, they've labelled the service appalling. And on the website this morning, why 2 million people are considering taking a mortgage payment holiday. We reveal how half of the country are not having a Christmas turkey this year because of the credit crunch. And who would you like to be #1 at Christmas? Take part in our online poll. All that and more at GM.TV. Now, if you're still struggling to think of something to give the man in your life for Christmas this year, this could be the answer. An American fast food chain has come up with a Christmas gift idea for the meat-loving man who has everything. Tiffany Royce reports from New York.
It's lean, it's mean, and it's so popular that humble hamburger has just taken on a new role.
Yes, just in time for Christmas, an American burger chain has released its own men's body spray, appropriately named Flame. It smells of meat.
Flame is being promoted as the scent of seduction with a hint of flame grilled burger. But will this delicious delicacy really get us going?
Would you wear it?
Probably not. It's very musky.
It's very musky.
Yeah.
Is that a good thing?
Well, if somebody likes the musky smell, then, you know, of course. So.
Would you, as a woman, fancy a man who smelled of meat?
Yes. Yes. Meat's awesome.
I'm a vegetarian.
So you certainly wouldn't.
I'd be repulsed by it.
Well, if the lady in your life doesn't like it, not to worry. You can rest assured someone else will.
I think I'll borrow mine from Andrew. It's 9 minutes past 6. Back to you.
Yeah, well, you borrowed my jacket and my tie, I note. OK, Dixon, so thank you very much indeed for that.
He left his on the train, as you do. Let's have a quick look at the front page of the newspapers, and that's the Daily Telegraph, our top story there. And also the Mac cartoon today, of course, always going straight for the jugular. Let's sell up in the UK, go to France and buy a croissant. Since that's about how much it would buy. The Independent has that story on the front page. A moment for truth. Gordon Brown says British troops will leave Iraq by July, but after 6 years of occupation, 178 deaths, countless Iraqi casualties, there's growing pressure for an independent inquiry into the causes, conduct and the cost of the war. The Times, that picture there is the jobless queue grows and the worst is yet to come. And a secret plan's revealed for a second Gatwick runway. The Guardian has a picture of Prince Charles. Apparently hats don't do you any good. Apparently you don't lose 40% of your heat through your hat.
Through your head?
Yeah, I know what I mean.
You don't lose your head through your hat.
Exactly. So just keep it on. And that headline there, Labour forced to ditch police elections plan.
Charles's wife there, Camilla, irresistible picture in the Daily Mail this morning. That's at the Olympia Horse Show. It's absolutely classic, isn't it? But the serious story on the page, of course, is Jaguar next for a bailout. We've been hearing about that in the news. We'll hear more later on. Daily Mirror this morning, what a harrowing story this is. Obviously, the man found guilty or on trial for the death of his 4 children. Actually, he has been found guilty in a modified car. Just my sweet baby, says the Daily Mirror, so they carry that story. We did it. This is about the military awards, the Millies that the Sun have been getting behind there. So Prince Charles busy with another function there, an important one as well. And all 27,000 staff at Woolies lose their jobs in the Daily Express this morning. That news breaking over the last sort of day or two. But we're going to be talking football now with former Chelsea, Aston Villa, Celtic and a few others besides. Defender Paul Elliott. Good morning to you. Sam Allardyce, new Blackburn manager, I was reading. So what do you think of that?
Yeah, it's an interesting one. The reality is that, I mean, I liked him. He'd done extremely well at Macclesfield. MK Dons was the right man for the job. The reality is, Andrew, in the Premiership, it's about results. It's unforgiving. It's ruthless.
You had 17 games in charge.
Yes, and I'd like to feel there could have been a bit more time with Stoke, Sunderland and Man City to come over the next 3 or 4 games. But, you know, come Judgment Day, it's all about results. Yeah. No winning 11, 3 in 17, and clearly the Blackburn hierarchy felt that it was a need for a change because they can't fall out of the Premiership. You know, the money, what it's worth to the club, 40, 50 million pounds, that obviously is clear at risk.
Well, when Bolton came into the Premiership, Allardyce was there and he established them as a Premiership club, didn't he? I mean, that's what, so, you know, they need to stabilise now.
Well, they want a safe, set, mature set of hands, and the reality is he's got an impeccable CV. It was blemished slightly at Newcastle. Some said he should have been afforded the time that possibly Ince would have liked as well, but that's football. And I think, in all honesty, he will stable the ship and go on to do a decent job.
And, of course, he needs to raise funds as well. I suppose that's, you know, business is a part of football as well.
Yes.
Roque Santa Cruz would be worth a few bob.
Yes, he's an outstanding player, no question about that. They say even in this current values market, it's worth about £20 million. I understand Allardyce has been given another 10, so potentially, come the transfer window, he'll be in a position to manoeuvre and activate in the market.
Just tell me what the transfer window is. I hear it all the time, and I'm not sure I know all the rules.
Well, it's called a window of opportunity. So what it is, in short, Andrew, it starts from January the 2nd until the first week in February, and there's obviously surplus activities that players can be bought, players can be sold, and that's the window where potentially acquisitions can be made.
So a lot of horse trading.
Absolutely, that's what it's all about.
And in the transfer window as well. Yes. Let's talk about a great manager already, Martin O'Neill. Aston Villa losers last night, but they're through.
They're comfortable, isn't it? I mean, they played against Hamburg, who are top of the group, got beat 3-1.
Just a word on the fact that Manchester United are not in this country at the moment. They don't play for a while, do they?
No,
I think
they
it's
don't.
a Boxing Day fixture.
Yes.
But this World Club Championship, is that just a money-raising exercise?
Yeah, and also I think it's a byproduct of actually winning the Champions League. Obviously, there's financial, very serious possibilities for the club, and obviously it's something they could probably really do without. But that's the price for success, isn't it? And I'm sure they'll welcome that and go on to do very well.
Another possible trophy for Sir Alex Ferguson. He'd never say no to that, I'm sure.
He won't.
Good to see you this morning. Thanks very much for coming in.
Almost 6:15. There are common health misconceptions and it's time to lay them to rest. That is what the British Medical Journal says in a report today which pours scorn on the routines and health advice that we've been following for years, saying that many of them are just myths. Sarah Moore explains.
Now this is a hangover cure apparently. Raw eggs and a drop of Worcester sauce. And this is a myth I'm going to believe in, but American researchers have been analysing the evidence to set the record straight about some medical myths. So, what should you believe? Here you go. Myth number 1, sugar makes kids hyperactive.
When I eat loads of it, I kind of get really mad.
Excess sugar does make them a bit more excitable and a bit more hyperactive, yes.
You're wrong. The research found 12 studies showing no evidence to support this at all. Myth number 2, we lose most of our body heat through our head.
My mum always used to say, cover their head, cover their feet, because that's when they lose most temperature.
Wrong again. Myth number 3, eating at night makes you fat.
If I don't eat before I go to bed or during the night, I don't feel quite as fat in the morning.
Wrong again. You can eat away. And back to that hangover cure. Well, the research says simply forget it and drink less.
Yeah, Dr. Hilary Jones is here. I have actually witnessed you on this programme.
Yes.
Proposing that certain things are good for hangover cures.
Of course they are. It just
well, they're just saying it's a myth.
But there's no cure, there's no magic wand, but you can speed up the recovery. So, yeah,
Right.
I would take issue with the BMJ on that one, on their Christmas issue.
Right.
Trying to be frivolous at this time of year.
OK, now I would take issue with the thing about the hat.
The hat.
It may not be 40% of the heat you lose through your head, but if you don't wear a hat and it's cold, you feel extremely, extremely cold.
Yep, I'm going to take issue with this one as well. I agree with you, because, do you know why? The scalp has a very, very rich blood supply, and your body loses heat where the blood supply in the skin is greatest. And it's much greater in the head than it is, say, in the periphery of the body, in the hands and the feet. So they're wrong, we're right.
Right, so two BMJs on.
Yep,
Let's go
yep.
through another one.
Next one.
Sugar may not make children hyperactive, which is what they're saying. I know, but if you give children a load of sugar, then they get more energy, and then
No,
Yep,
they don't.
yep,
No, they don't.
I'm a doctor. I know what I'm talking about.
The body controls the blood sugar within a very narrow band. That's what insulin is for. It's always between about 3.5 and 6.5 millimoles per litre. And that's what it is. However much sugar you have, that's what it's controlled at. Otherwise, you're diabetic. If you're
But
not
I
diabetic,
have witnessed
blood sugar's-
children eating sugary snacks and
Ah,
sugary sweets
it's not
and
the
things
sugar,
like that.
it's the additives. So let's
Oh,
get that
okay.
right. Not the sugar,
Right.
it's the additives.
Additives.
chastened.
All right. Eating at night, it may not make you fat, but there isn't chance for it to digest. How about that?
It doesn't matter. People who eat more at night also eat more at breakfast and lunch and through the day.
Oh, so
that's true.
right.
And even if you eat later, if you don't eat late at night, in theory you're in fasting mode till breakfast. Doesn't work that way.
Oh, right. So they're right
calories
in
are
a
the
few.
same.
Okay, so they're right in a few of these so far, and poinsettias, which are of course the
Poinsettias
Christmas
are
flower.
toxic. Yeah, they're not toxic, but they are very allergenic. They're extremely allergenic. Like most plants are capable of causing an allergy in some people who touch them. Poinsettia is very allergenic.
But how weird is that? Because it doesn't even have flowers, does it? I mean, the
No.
poinsettia itself is not actually even a flower.
No, it's the protein on the leaves on the plant itself. Now I've got one for each of you two because this is frivolous and fun.
Yeah.
First of all, shingles. If you get it on both sides of the body, does it mean you're going to die?
No.
No, but it might do, actually, because mostly shingles you get on one side of the body. If you get it on both sides of the body, it usually means an immune deficiency.
Doctor
and that could
speaks.
lead
What's mine?
to
What's mine?
Oysters, aphrodisiac or not?
Oh, yeah, good for you.
If you believe they are, perhaps they are. It's the power of
Sure.
suggestion, Hilary, isn't it?
They're full of zinc, which
Yeah.
is important in fertility, but actually, no.
No? But,
No.
we,
But they are
why
lovely.
did I get
They are
that
lovely.
question?
We
Well, I just
love
thought
them.
you might know.
And we love oysters anyway. Thank
'Cause I
you
know
very
you-
much.
you ordered
Hilary.
3 dozen for,
That's enough.
Christmas
You're back
Eve.
later.
Sorry.
Shut up. You're beating into our time. Right, we've got to move on. The time is 18 minutes past 6. You're watching the news out on GMTV. This morning's headlines. People are being urged not to call 999 unless it's an absolute emergency because ambulance services and A&E departments are struggling to cope with demand.
Retailers are facing their toughest time for 25 years, with a large number expected to go bust in the new year.
And a football fan jailed for attempted murder in Bulgaria could be pardoned after High Court judges ruled that there was new evidence.
19 minutes past 6 is the time. We're talking about warranties now, extended warranties to be precise. They're supposed to give the customer peace of mind as they splash out on a shiny new appliance, which may or may not break down. But in a report out today, which say extended warranties can be a waste of money in many cases. So are they worth splashing the cash on, and should shop assistants even be trying to sell them in the first place? Now, consumer expert Clodagh Hartley joins us in the studio. But first, a report by Which out today reveals that in many cases these warranties can be a waste of money. So let's go through some of the facts with these. Out of 20 high street stores, only a third gave all the correct advice, with most giving false or wrong information. While customers have 45 days to cancel a warranty, 7 stores falsely claimed there was no right to cancel it or gave the wrong number of days. And 4 stores failed to show the cost and length of the warranty, which should be clearly displayed, while 5 shops failed to give a written quote. So that's some of the numbers associated with this. And as I was saying, Clodagh is with me now. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
Do you buy extended warranties on bits and bobs?
I do not. There's absolutely no point. Where we are now, electrical goods have a much higher reliability rate, and there's really no need. You've got a year's guarantee from the manufacturer anyway, and your statutory rights even ensure that if something goes wrong beyond that, you should have a certain amount, a reasonable amount of time that any product should work for, that you can expect.
But that means going in and having a fight, doesn't it? I mean, if, for instance, and it is sod's law, isn't it, that 1 second after a manufacturer's warranty wears out, say, call it a year, something breaks, then what? You haven't got the receipt a year later. You take it back in and you say what?
Well, OK, first of all, you should try and hang on to your receipts for something that you've spent a fair amount of money on. If it's a large ticket item, even a toaster for £20, if you're going to want to use it, like you say, it's the inconvenience factor.
Yeah.
The contract is between the seller and the buyer, and you are entitled to expect a reasonable amount of time to use the product. So really, you need to go in and speak to the manager, appeal to their common sense that they need to look after you if you're going to come back and buy something else.
Are they on commission, the shop assistants, when they try to sell an extended warranty?
In some cases they are, yes, and it's kind of easy money. Some 900 million is expected to be spent on extended warranties, and a lot of that is around this time of year as we all buy kind of electrical goods, perhaps for Christmas presents or just for the home generally. So yes, but it's clear that they're not giving out the right information, and that needs to change.
Just looking at this Which report, it also claims a third of shops gave wrong advice about the right to cancel a warranty.
That's
we have a right, having purchased a warranty.
You do. You've got 45 days to cool off and cancel it. You've also, if they give you a quote and kind of give you a discount there and then, you've got 30 days to take up that quote after you've bought the product. So you don't need to feel under pressure at the time, at a point of purchase, for that peace of mind. And also, it's good to remember that, even the warranties that they try to sell, saying it's accidental damage or theft is covered, your household insurance will probably cover that anyway. So I would say generally they're just not worth it.
So generally not worth it. That's the advice, Clodagh. You're very firm about that.
Yeah.
I can just imagine a shop assistant, how they feel when you come marching back in. But you certainly know your rights. Thank you very much for coming in this morning and putting us straight.
Time is 6:22, still to come on the news hour. Fighting to be free by Christmas, talking to the parents of Liverpool fan Michael Shields on the news that his 10-year conviction for attacking a fan in Bulgaria could be about to be quashed.
And up next, the end of a television era. Fiona prepares to hand over the crown as the Queen of the breakfast sofa. It's been a good laugh.
Hello again, it's a momentous day on GMTV. 15 years, the Queen of the Sofa, Fiona Phillips. She's heading off to pastures new. Go on.
Well, we're just going to say we're going to miss her.
I thought the link was a lot longer than that. We're going to miss her.
Yeah,
Here's
we'll
why.
have a look here.
He's here with us now for his first live television interview on British television since standing down. Nice to be back. Do you prefer David's hair on the right, in the middle or on the left? It's back over to the right this morning. Live from Downing Street, we are inside number 10. Morning to you, Prime Minister. The boys are back again, those 2 old geezers. You have beautiful hands. Did you manicure?
No. He's a co-star of yours in the movie.
Oh, thank you. I'm sorry. We are getting close just as I'm leaving.
Would you stop flirting with me and talk to our guests?
Cheers.
Love you to beach, Fiona!
Got you at last.
You're not putting a sausage past my mouth, Richard, I can tell you.
Did you bring me back a banger?
No. I couldn't get back. The lift doesn't
Nothing
stop
like a big
on floor 2,
entrance,
does it?
We are live, you know.
Well, it doesn't matter.
Let's do apologise, my inconsiderate colleague.
I remember that day. That was about the fact that slippers can kill.
Oh,
and
yeah.
it just got more and more silly throughout the morning.
It just got under her skin and she just started and ran with it. That's what she
when you
does.
Have days like that,
she does so well all the way through a programme. She'll build something up and, yeah, she's made a decision. She's off.
I know.
She's off. It's a brave decision, and she will be melting from about 7 o'clock this morning all the way
When you
through
say
till
melting,
noon.
it does sound like she's just going to be awfully hot. You mean she'll be crying?
I think
There'll be
she'll probably be very emotional after,
Yeah, we'll
what,
just make
15
sure we got,
years with the
just
programme.
make sure we've got lots of tissues.
I know.
Now, we'll be putting up your farewell messages too. Email them in at gm.tv, or you can text the programme 67890. Text costs 25 pence plus your standard network charge. Full terms, gm.tv. Terms/terms.
Claire's still here and is remaining. Here she is.
Hello. I'm going to really miss Fiona as well.
Oh.
She just makes me smile even if she doesn't say anything.
I know.
You never quite know, do you?
You never know
quite
what she's going to say.
I'll miss the conversations about tidying. Oh, lovely.
Let's take a look.
GMTV weather, sponsored by Nestle Shredded Wheat. Shredded wheat and hot milk. They're a perfect winter warm-up.
Now, over the next few days, it's going to turn wet and windy on the mild side, today on the mild side, particularly across England and Wales, but it's settling down for next week. And what that means as we head through the next few days, expect outbreaks of rain, but this weekend could be frost-free, which is good news if you're heading away. And then for Christmas Day, this is what's happening. A few showers likely in the north and east, but mostly dry. We've got high pressure coming up from the south. So there could be a little bit of fog and frost first things, but good news for those of you who are planning to travel on Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, and even on Boxing Day. In fact, the high pressure could extend right the way through until New Year's Eve. This morning, then, we're seeing outbreaks of rain, the rain moving from the northwest towards the southeast. This is the band here. In its wake, colder air digging in, and this could actually cause some problems, particularly over the highlands, where we could see some snow, particularly over, I'd say, the higher ground above 200 or 300 metres. And then come Friday, another area of cloud and rain moves in. On its eastern edge, it could turn to snow before clearing away. And this is really the pattern of the weather as we head through the weekend, but the weekend is turning milder. I think the southeast escaping much of the really bad weather, but certainly this morning we can see where the rain is. It's anywhere from Northern Ireland across to the border regions and moving down towards northern counties of England. Windy here. Now, behind it, it's a lot of cold air sort of digging in, and that's the reason why we could see some wintry showers later on. Ahead of it, the air is relatively mild. We're seeing a lot of cloud, and that cloud producing the odd spot of drizzly rain, particularly across western areas of Wales. Through the afternoon, the rain moves across to North Wales, clipping the West Country, remaining mostly dry, perhaps even bright in places, with temperatures up into double figures, so quite pleasant across the southeast. We can see where the rain is across northern counties of England down towards the Midlands, and then we can see where we see the, well, I'd say 1 or 2 wintry showers, but some dry weather as well across Northern Ireland as well as Scotland, and then those temperatures falling off. So it might be a mild start to the day across northern parts of the country, but certainly through the afternoon the temperatures will fall away, and it's going to feel much, much colder as we head through into the evening time. The winds are fairly strong in the north, and this is how we see this evening. So if you're heading out to a Christmas party, it'll be dry, but it will turn colder later in the north. And the next few days, it really is a case of rain coming in, and then we'll see some dry weather and then more rain. So there's a pattern emerging here. Drier next week. Here's your summary. Check out what the weather will be like this weekend on our website, gm.tv.
Good morning, it's a smidge off 6:30. It's Thursday, the 18th of December. You have exactly 1 week until Christmas. You're watching the News Hour on GMTV.
Still to come this morning, fighting to be free by Christmas. Talking to the parents of Liverpool fan Michael Shields on the news that his 10-year conviction for attacking a man in Bulgaria could be about to be quashed.
And it is true, men are rubbish at Christmas shopping.
Never denied it.
We'll be telling you why with the results of a GMTV survey in 50 minutes' time.
First though this morning, people are being urged not to call 999 unless it's an absolute emergency, as ambulance services and A&E departments struggle to cope with demand. They've just had their busiest week ever because of the cold snap and a large number of viral infections too. Jonathan Swain is at an A&E department, but just outside it, thank goodness. Jonathan.
Morning, John. Well, they're certainly busy this morning. We've seen 2 ambulances leave here within the last few minutes or so, and overstretched and unable to cope. That's how the ambulance service in the UK has been described, and the person saying that should know, because it's Peter Bradley, the Director of Ambulance Services in the UK. He's urging the public only to call 999 if it is an absolute emergency, because many services around the UK have had their busiest 10 days since records began. Now, it's not only ambulance staff who are under a lot of pressure at the moment. Many hospitals are also feeling the pinch as well, because accident and emergency departments around the country, many of those are full, and as a result ambulances are unable to drop patients off when they arrive at the hospital, which means that that vehicle is no longer free to respond to another emergency. Well, as we're now in the full party spirit and party season, they predict the situation is likely to get much worse because as a result, many ambulance services around the country have suspended meal breaks for staff and have also offering generous overtime for members of staff to try and cope with the demand over Christmas period. So what can we do? Well, we're told only to call 999 Andrew in a genuine emergency.
Jonathan, thank you very much for that.
Let's cross to the news desk now, and Nick.
Thanks, Penny. Good morning. Retailers are facing their toughest time for 25 years, with a large number expected to go bust in the new year. Latest figures show that high street sales were down again for the first 2 weeks of December. Well, Richard Gaisford is in Kingston upon Thames in Surrey. Morning, Richard.
Yes, good morning, Nick. Even these big discounts that are on offer on the high street aren't enough to tempt us to start spending money. Retailers are having their worst Christmas since 1983, when the CBI first started to question them about how things were going. 70% of the shops that were asked for this survey have said that they actually are having a worse time, and things aren't looking at all good for 2009. And when you start discounting at this rate, of course, it starts to hit profits, starts to hit the margins, and things aren't looking good. When you think about Woolworths there behind us, that's going to be closing its doors across the country from the 5th of January. More than 800 stores will close, and nearly 30,000 people will be left without a job. Analysts today saying they won't be the last by any means. More big names expected to disappear from the high street as they go into administration with their profits severely hit and they start to struggle to raise finance. Of course, it's not just the shops that are having problems at the moment. Car manufacturers and retailers too just can't shift stock to save their lives. Jaguar Land Rover, the big group that was sold to the Indian firm Tata recently, is the latest one to be struggling. They apparently have been in talks now with the government for some time, trying to get some sort of financial package to get them through what is more than just a sticky patch now, and 15,000 people reliant on their livelihoods there for Jaguar Land Rover. We've just heard this morning too that Chrysler, the big American company, is going to shut all of its factories across the states, 30 manufacturing plants for at least a month. You can see how bad things are getting, Nick.
Indeed. Thank you very much, Richard. Jailed Liverpool fan Michael Shields could be pardoned by the Justice Secretary Jack Straw after High Court judges ruled there was new evidence. 22-year-old Shields was given 10 years for the attempted murder of a local barman in Bulgaria in 2005. He insisted he was asleep at the time. Another Liverpool fan confessed to the attack but later retracted his statement. Shields' family hope he could be home for Christmas. The government's chief advisor on CJD, the human form of mad cow disease, has warned that a new strain of the illness could be about to hit Britain. Scientists believe it could be more resistant than previous strains and have a longer incubation period. Relatives of those killed by the disease will campaign at Downing Street today for more information to be made available to the public. NHS dental patients are being overcharged by more than £100 million a year, according to new research carried out by the Tory party. It claims patients are being recalled for treatment unnecessarily and being charged twice for appointments spread over several days. The Conservatives say the practice means many people can't get to see a dentist at all. As a result, they've labelled the service appalling. And on the website this morning, why 2 million people are considering taking a mortgage payment holiday. We reveal how half of the country are not having a Christmas turkey this year because of the credit crunch. And who would you like to be #1 at Christmas? Take part in our online poll. All that and more at gm.tv. Now, if you're still struggling to think of something to give the man in your life for Christmas this year, well, we may have the answer. An American fast food chain has come up with a Christmas gift idea for the meat-loving man who has everything. Tiffany Royce reports from New York.
It's lean, it's mean, and it's so popular that humble hamburger has just taken on a new role. Yes, just in time for Christmas, an American burger chain has released its own men's body spray, appropriately named Flame. It smells of meat. Flame is being promoted as the scent of seduction with a hint of flame-grilled burger. But will this delicious delicacy really get us going?
Would you wear it?
Probably not. It's very musky.
It's very musky. Yeah. Is that a good thing?
Well, if somebody likes the musky smell, then, you know, of course. So.
Would you, as a woman, fancy a man who smelled of meat?
Yes. Yes. Meat's awesome.
I'm a vegetarian.
So you certainly wouldn't.
I'd be repulsed by it.
Well, if the lady in your life doesn't like it, not to worry. You can rest assured someone else will.
It's 6:36 now. Here's what's happening where you are.
Thanks, Nick. Good morning. The top stories here in the northwest. Some hospitals across our region are so overstretched they've been forced to turn people away. Admissions within parts of Cheshire have doubled compared with this time last year, while Salford and Bolton have also seen sharp rises. The North West Ambulance Service also says it's suffering with record levels of calls. This week, Leighton Hospital had to shut its doors to patients for 6 hours.
We were close to declaring a major incident across the whole of the North West, and we actually had to borrow 10 beds from neighbouring hospitals, put 10 extra beds in. So every single space and bed was filled, and it got to the stage where we felt it was just unsafe for patients to come in anymore.
So have you ever been turned away from hospital, or have you experienced problems yourself? Well, send your views please to granada.reports@itv.com, or you can send a text starting with the word Granada and then your message to 63332. A man from Rochdale who shot his wife in the head in Zimbabwe will today be sentenced for her murder. Michael Bamford from Littleborough was found guilty of murdering Ivy Sutcliffe at their home in Harare 4 years ago. They'd moved to Africa together to pursue a luxury lifestyle. A silent demonstration will take place in Salford today over plans to build a racecourse on Greenbelt land. Protesters say the multi-million-pound scheme will increase traffic and noise pollution. Salford Council are due to make a decision over the plans later today. Sam Allardyce will be unveiled as the new Blackburn Rovers manager today. The former Bolton boss had been given a 3-year deal. Rovers players are already keen to get behind him.
A couple of wins and, you know, we're back up there again. It's very close, so, you know, he'll come in and he'll want to do his thing and he'll probably want to see changes and all that kind of stuff. But as long as we can start winning, it's the main thing.
And finally, the UK's only hand-reared baby beaver will enjoy his first Christmas in Southport. Staff at the Martin Mere Wildlife Centre have been caring for the 5-month-old since he was found injured last summer. Now let's have a look at the weather. Here's Kerry.
GMTV weather is brought to you by Olbus Oil and Olbus for Children. The power to breathe, whatever the weather.
Hello, very good morning to everybody. Fairly cloudy start across many parts this morning. Certainly a mild start and a breezy start. Some initial brightness in the south will be replaced by cloudier skies and outbreaks of rain pushing southwards during the course of the day. And then it's drier and brighter from the north by the end of the afternoon. A little cooler too, but still breezy.
Well, I'm back in about half an hour. First, though, it's over to Andrew and Penny on the GMTV sofa in London. Goodbye for now. See you soon.
6:39 Thursday morning. These are the papers in The Guardian. Labour forced to ditch police elections plan. Fears over the politicisation of forces fuelled revolt by officers and councils there. Daily Telegraph this morning. Story we've been running. Hospitals and 999 service at breaking point. Incidentally, that picture taken in 1980 of this quite dashing young man, Barack Obama, taken by a fellow student who went upstairs when he got elected.
Saturday idol.
Yeah, he looks good, doesn't he? Secret plans revealed for second Gatwick runway. Expanded airport will be busier than Heathrow, says The Times, and a moment for truth. The Independent in Iraq.
The Daily Express has that story. All 27,000 staff at Woolies will lose their jobs. Now, the Daily Mail is Jaguar next for a bailout, and that picture there of the Duchess of Cornwall and a competitor from the Olympia horse show. The Sun, the Millies, We Did It. That was their campaign to get those awards going. And two Christmas stories. One is a 22-year-old student who was refused crackers because of the fact that they contain explosives, and they were worried she was too young to buy them. Yes, exactly. And the other one is that, do you know what? One mince pie you have to walk for 4 miles to burn off the calories.
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
OK, the jailed Liverpool fan Michael Shields is who we're talking about now. He could be pardoned by the Justice Secretary after a High Court ruling. Now, if Jack Straw does give the pardon, then Mr Shields could be freed from a sentence of 10 years for the attempted murder of a barman in Bulgaria. He has always protested his innocence. We're joined now by Michael's parents, Michael and Maria Shields, who are at their home in Liverpool. Very good morning to you both. This must have been the news that you were waiting for.
Yeah, it's been, you know, we've been waiting for this for a while now. We got the decision yesterday from the High Court that Mr. Straw's got the power to release Michael.
And when and how did you hear...
Before Christmas.
Sorry to interrupt. When and how did you hear that he may be pardoned?
Well, we got a phone call off Michael's lawyer early yesterday afternoon, and he came to our house about 1:30, and he disclosed that he had it. You know, he had the decision, and we were overjoyed. We just thought Mr. Straw can do it sooner rather than later.
And Maria, Jack Straw has said that he won't delay in making his decision. After all, Michael has spent the last 3 years in prison. So what would your message be to Mr. Straw?
My message to Mr. Straw at this moment is, I mean, yesterday when I was listening to the news and I heard him saying, you know, it's possible that he may not be home for Christmas. If it was his son, he'd be praying that it was his son, he'd be brought home for Christmas. He spent 3 Christmases away from us, and we just don't want him to spend another one away from us. You know, Michael's done nothing wrong, and I hope that Mr. Straw can get him home for us for Christmas. That's my wish and my praise right today.
What have the last 3 years been like for you?
Absolutely devastating. I can't move on till my lovely lad comes home. I've missed him so much. You know, it's just our lives come to a standstill 3.5 years ago, and you know, we're hoping that this comes. It's just this as quick as possible. It's been awful for us.
And Michael, just tell me, is there new evidence that could be considered? Because I think that's the criteria, hasn't it? New evidence which will be considered that the Bulgarian courts haven't seen yet.
Yeah, there's a dossier that was sent to Mr. Straw. Mr. Straw's had this dossier for 6 months. The government have seen it. Various people have seen it. There's a lot of evidence, new evidence, you know, suggests that Michael didn't do this crime. Mr. Straw's got that evidence on his table. All he's got to do is look at that evidence and come to this conclusion that Michael didn't do this crime. So, you know, Mr. Straw was saying that he's going to pass it on to the QC to have a look at it. You know, we just hope that the QC can have a look at it as soon as possible.
And when do you think he might be home? And is it, in your own minds, a foregone conclusion that he will be pardoned now?
Yes, it is. It is a foregone, you know. We hope that it's sooner rather than later. You know, we want him home today. We want him home now. You know, we want him sitting on his couch, just giving interviews to the people of the country. You know, we just hope that Mr. Straw can do it sooner rather than later.
OK, Michael and Maria Shields, thanks for joining us this morning. And if he is home for Christmas, you'd better have got him a present under the tree. Just a thought.
OK, thanks very much.
Thank you.
Cheers. All the best.
Time is coming up to 6:45. You're watching the news hour on GMTV. This morning's headlines: people are being urged not to call 999 unless it's an absolute emergency, as ambulance services and A&E departments struggle to cope with demand.
Retailers are facing their toughest time for 25 years, with a large number expected to go bust in the new year.
And the government's chief advisor on CJD, which is the human form of mad cow disease, has warned that a new strain of it could be about to hit Britain. 7 days to go till Christmas. Has the man in your life got a present? I only ask because just under half of all men leave their Christmas shopping until the very last week. Most of them, in fact, it seems to me, until Christmas Eve itself. In a GMTV survey, more than half the women questioned claimed that they had to choose and buy their own present from their partner. And more than 75% of those surveyed said they also had to shop for their partner's relatives. Speaking to relationship writer Stephanie Calman in just a moment. First, Matt Arnold reports.
On the first day of Christmas, my true love gave to me, but do our true loves buy the presents themselves? Well, if they're men, not necessarily.
I do all our shopping, and I've just in fact bought my husband's Christmas present to me.
I think women like to choose their own and then hubby stump up for it.
What I said to my girlfriend is I'm not psychic, and if you want something you're going to like, you need to tell me what you want.
Taking the wraps off our survey then, we find that 77% of women buy the presents for their partner's other family members too. A fifth of women have to take their other halves to the shop to buy the presents.
Because basically their priorities are different, they're a bit lazy.
I think we're too scared of buying the wrong thing and we end up leaving it too late.
Our survey shows more than half of women choose their own present. But for men that do buy, it seems that having your loved one's prezi expertly wrapped is a sure sign you didn't do it. So this firm are offering badly wrapped gifts online to buy from home and hand over.
Awkward folding, too much wrapping paper. What's really crucial is brown tape as well, wrapped all the way around the box to keep it all nice and tight. We can definitely say that there are no shoddier gift wrap services out there available today.
One of the big sellers in that online warehouse is apparently the Borat Mankini. So perhaps housewives, after years of bad underwear Christmas presents, are about to get their own revenge. Fellas, you could be waking up with one of these in your stocking.
Joined now by relationship writer Stephanie Calman.
A bit early in the morning to be looking at that.
It is, isn't it? Well, thank goodness he was wearing some kind of squirrel suit or whatever it was supposed to be.
Because the squirrel suit really makes it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, this is
got off
really,
on the wrong foot there.
This is really nothing new, though, is it? This survey saying that men leave it to the last moment, don't buy the right things, buy them in the wrong size or whatever else.
Yes, I think there's two things here. I think one is that something that men are not always that good at is observing quietly in the background through the year what their wife is reading, what perfume she's wearing, and then just kind of squirreling that thought away. Whereas women seem to spend a lot of time doing that, so much so that they then take on responsibility for the whole family's presents. Which begs the question, does it really... You're nodding away, so you are guilty.
Completely
does it matter? I mean, I do all the cards, I do all the presents. I love buying and wrapping presents. I enjoy doing it. But, you know, if my husband's family don't get all the presents they should have, that should really be his problem, not mine. So I slightly feel that women sort of take on too much responsibility. We worry that people won't like us if these things don't happen, because our self-esteem seems to be totally based on those kind of achievements, whereas men don't mind. The good news that your survey doesn't say is, the great thing about men is they don't care if you forget or something else happens. Or...
That's so not true in my experience.
Oh, OK. Well, in my experience is I find they're incredibly easy to please. Look, you know, the plus side is men are great. You buy them a nice bottle of whiskey or a bottle. I should just share with you quickly, because I thought I am going to get this in. The first present my now husband ever gave me, and I'm not making that, was a geography fact book. And I mean, I am a journalist, but I'm not Kate Adie, and each chapter was statistics about countries of the world.
Nice.
And I remember almost sort of opening it and looking to see if there was sort of sexy underwear hidden inside. I just couldn't believe it. And at that point, I did think, I'm not sure if this relationship is going to survive.
No, I mean, I did. There is a YouTube thing doing the rounds at the moment with people in men in A&E with, you know, things embedded in their heads that were just rubbish presents. But the thing is, as you say, they're just they get panicky too. They get
I think
so
we have
stressed.
to meet in the middle. I think the thing that women probably could do is earlier in the year, so it's not that awful feeling of Christmas Eve, you haven't got me anything, have you? Here's my list. Just say, look, here's some things that I really would like.
Or
and then men have to listen and not lose the list.
How about, here's some things I bought for myself earlier. Why don't you just wrap them up and leave them for Christmas?
Oh, well, and then there's the wrapping issue.
Call your wife's best female friend.
Well, research. It's like wedding
that's
speeches, it's like all these things.
Really nice.
Research, research, research. The 3 R's, everybody.
Stephanie, thank you.
And all we need is socks and pants. As men, I declare, socks and pants, fine. Thank you very much indeed.
That's it from the news hour. Still to come this morning. Your farewells to Fiona just 10 minutes before she takes to the GMTV sofa for the very last time. Keep your messages coming in. We will read them out throughout the morning.
Lovely messages coming in this morning, wishing her all the best. And getting ready to sing Once in Royal David City. It's the boys and girls of Purton Hill Infant School. There they are in just a moment.
Oh.